I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons. Thank you so much for your support. Hey y'all, it's Kate from the Literary Apothecary and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about, now this is the long title, so stay with me. The Folklore of Discworld, Legends, Myths, and Customs from the Discworld with helpful hints from Planet Earth. This was jointly written by Terry Pratchett and Jacqueline Simpson, and I listened to the audiobook version of this, which was narrated by Michael Fenton Stevens. A quick spoiler-free summary of this book. I took this from Goodreads because it just summarized it so well, and it had that Discworld humor and tone to it. So most of us grew up having always known when to touch wood or cross our fingers, and what happens when a princess kisses a frog or a boy pulls a sword from a stone. Yet sadly, some of these things are beginning to be forgotten. Legends, myths, and fairy tales. Our world is made up of the stories we told ourselves about where we came from and how we got here. It is the same on Discworld, except that beings which on Earth are creatures of the imagination, like vampires, trolls, witches, and possibly gods, are real, alive, and in some cases kicking on the disc. In the Folklore of Discworld, Terry Pratchett teams up with the leading British folklorist, Jacqueline Simpson, to take on an irreverent yet illuminating look at the living myths and folklore that are reflected, celebrated, and affectionately libeled in the uniquely imaginative universe of Discworld. Now, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love the Discworld, although it has reminded me that I'm severely behind on my Discworld reading. So some things that I appreciated about this book. First, like I said, I'm so far behind on my Discworld reading that it reignited my love for Discworld and reminded me that I need to pick up with this so I can finish the City Watch books and move on to the other sub-series. 2, because this was not written at the end of all of the Discworld books, it doesn't cover every single Discworld book, but it covers a good majority of them. It covers not just one sub-series like the City Watch, but it covers the City Watch and the witches and death and good omens, and it just covers so many. No, not good omens because that's not the Discworld, but you get the idea. It covers the entire disc essentially, and I got to learn about characters that I haven't even met yet. So new characters, and I already know about them, which for me is exciting. For some people it'd be spoilers, but for me it's really exciting. 3, I learned so much, not only about Discworld and Terry Pratchett's, inspiration and where he got all of these ideas from, but also I learned so much about our mythologies and legends and folklore and all of that. I knew a little bit, like, the King Arthur pulling a sword from a stone. I learned about that from The Sword in the Stone, and then I grew to love the Arthurian legend retellings. But there was so much more that I didn't know that I learned so much from this book. Plus, number 4, we have personal notes from Sir Terry himself. This was a true team project. He truly wrote this with Jacqueline Simpson. This wasn't Jacqueline Simpson referring to the Discworld that Sir Terry wrote. This was a joint effort, which I can really appreciate because it feels like sometimes we have the original author listed in the credits of a book like this, but really that's just a hint that they wrote the original series that this was based off of, and they didn't do this as a joint effort. But this was a truly joint effort. We get notes from both him and Jacqueline Simpson in here, and also I think it was at the end. So at the beginning we have kind of a prologue or a note from both, one from Sir Terry and one from Jacqueline Simpson, about where the idea of this book came from and all of that. And then at the end, if I remember correctly, we have a note from Sir Terry again, and knowing that he has passed, it just is so great to hear, because these notes, the beginning and the end notes, are in his voice. And so it's just a touch of memorabilia, and it just touched my heart. And then the last thing that I have written on here of things that I appreciated about the Folklore of Discworld is that you can either read this book on its own, like I did, as an individual book, or you can use it as a reference as you're making your way through the Discworld, because it has a very helpful part titles, and you can just refer back to it every time you meet a new character or a new myth or legend and see where the inspiration came from. So it's both a book that can function on its own, but also as a reference book. And the audiobook is just absolutely fantastic. Michael Fenton Stevens did such a fantastic job with it. So like I said, I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. If you've read this book, The Folklore of Discworld, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. If you haven't read this book yet and you're a Discworld fan, first of all, you need to go and get this book. Second, let me know in the comments who your favorite Discworld character is, or what is your favorite sub-series in the Discworld books. I have only experienced some of the City Watch books so far, but I absolutely love them, and I can't wait to get further into the Discworld. As always, my Patreon and my Discord information will be in the description below. There's no pressure to join either, but we have a ton of fun at both. Keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.